So 3, 2, 1, and then we face the camera. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to First World Problems. I am JP.
And I am Remy.
We are a group of immigrants who just happen to be in Toronto talking about things that affect our lives.
And I know that you haven't seen us in a while, but
Yeah.
we're very excited to be back.
Yeah.
And I think the last time we talked, I think we were talking about the Canadian election,
Yeah.
where Canadians were electing a new prime minister. So maybe let's start from that. Maybe give you a little bit of what has happened since then. Do you want to talk about the results? What happened?
Yes. Some shocking results, first of all. Some really key races that went completely the way people did not expect, which is actually one of the reasons why we're going to have to discuss this in this part. But the majority of people will conclude that this is the first time we have seen something similar to a two-party system develop in Canada.
Yeah.
So the final results were 169 seats for the Liberals. They did not get the majority, but they were very close. And 144 seats for the Conservatives, which means they are the majority. They are the main opposition again.
Yes.
22 seats for Bloc Québécois, and some of the shockers of the night were how many NDP lost. They are now at 7, and the Greens maintain 1, of course.
And I think some of the shockers we can talk about is some of the big party leaders actually lost their seats.
Yes.
And you talked about NDP. NDP dropped drastically. I think it was the third biggest party in the previous election, and with their leader Jagmeet Singh. And in this election, not only did they drop badly, I think a lot of the Liberals, including the Conservatives, took a lot of their voters, but even Jagmeet Singh lost.
It was an actually crazily interesting election, considering how little it changed in the actual governing of the country. The actual governing of the country did not really change that much, but there was
the Liberals are still in power.
The Liberals are still in power by a minority government, and they need NDP to form government, and the Bloc is still the Bloc. The Conservatives actually performed very well, and then their leader lost his own seat of Carleton. So Pierre Poilievre, the high-minded, Bitcoin-loving, flame-throwing candidate of the Conservatives.
Small Trump of Canada.
Yes, they call him Baby Trump. He trumped his way out of government. And one of the shocking moments was that his race was one of the last ones to get called. And by midnight, we still did not know. But he lost to a guy with a funny name.
Fanjoy.
A guy named Fanjoy.
Yes.
So Fanjoy ended Pierre Poilievre's run in Carleton.
Yes, so he has been the Member of Parliament, the MP for Carleton, for more than 20-something years, actually.
That is absolutely insane.
For 21 years, to be exact. He was the Member of Parliament for Carleton for 21 years.
To lose his seat in this election, when he's the party leader, and when there's an unpopular incumbent. Well, actually, that narrative had changed. It was not an unpopular incumbent anymore. It was Mark Carney really confused Canadians.
Yeah. Confused? Or it made things clear?
No, confused Canadians.
Yeah.
I think Liberals, if the Conservatives had run Mark Carney, Liberals would have hated it.
If Liberals had run Trudeau, I think that's what I said.
No, if Conservatives had run Mark Carney, Liberals would have hated it. His closeness to the corporate world is way too close. He did not get to reveal any of his data. It would be crony capitalism, this, that, and the third. But he actually was one of the economic advisors for Trudeau, so they had no reason to question his liberalness.
Yeah.
So they let him get away with not revealing his investments or what he works with.
Yeah.
And that was very confusing because Conservatives like a guy like that. He's run a couple banks. He's run these banks in challenging times. Of all they know, he's not like a reckless spender.
Yeah.
So they do not know how to hate him as well as they would have hated Trudeau.
Yeah. I think actually, for me, I would think it was actually a masterclass in politics from Liberals. By Trudeau. Trudeau really big shout out to him. That guy played politics like 500. He did not play 101. He played 500.
That is correct.
Especially deciding to resign and deciding to...
Let's go through the events as they unfolded.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it started with the tax holiday and then since Chrystia Freeland resigning and then all hell broke
triggering
loose.
the fall of Trudeau.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of Trudeau falling, He tags Mark Carney somehow
Yeah.
by some stroke of political genius. And I don't know if it came out of desperation or strategy. I would love somebody to explain that.
I think it came out of selflessness. I can't believe I would say
Okay.
this. Trudeau was selfless.
Can you use Trudeau and selfless in a sentence?
I can right now, like literally. Like he had every reason to just let the Liberals just fall and die. And honestly, every poll showed the Liberals were just gonna lose so badly that they wouldn't even be recognized as an opposition party. That's how bad they were going to lose. But Trudeau deciding a couple of things: one, to resign; secondly, to put Parliament on what they call it, on leave or something.
Yeah.
That essentially saved the Liberals because it gave the Liberals a chance to elect a new leader, and they elected a leader that was quote unquote not hated
Yeah.
by many
Like a
people.
centrist,
Yes.
even
a centrist.
even a mid-conservative.
Mm-hmm.
But Jagmeet had a very key role to play as well, because Jagmeet could have triggered a no confidence vote at any point.
Yes,
And he did it.
and he did it. Yeah.
Do you remember why he did not?
There's a lot of stories.
Allegation.
One of them is that he was waiting for his retirement.
Yeah,
to-
his pension.
to get kicked
Yeah.
in,
Apparently he was missing like a couple weeks.
like a
or
couple
so.
weeks.
Yeah. And that's all the Liberals needed.
And also there is the fact that the Democrats, the NDP, had supported the Liberals to pass essentially all their major bills, including their major policies that like NDP did. Like, for example, we know about the pharmacy care.
The dental.
Was a very big one from NDP. Dental was a big one from NDP, including I think one that is going to be the biggest policy under Trudeau's success, which is going to be childcare. All these were things that were championed by NDP.
Oh, you mean under Carney's?
No, under Trudeau. So I think essentially there was nothing inciting. There was nothing, not inciting. I think there was nothing pushing enough to make the meeting do a no confidence vote.
But I mean, all the reports about his pension apparently were accurate. Like,
They were accurate.
yeah,
Honestly, I thought it was just
he really was
the
waiting
right, just to
the
make
right
the noise.
amount. I mean, I don't blame him because look, now he's out of government and he has a pension. But the Conservatives are going to hate that move for a long time.
Yeah.
Because this extends so many years of liberal rule
for quite some time.
for quite some time, and it also throws into a tailspin what the Conservatives are going to do as a party. The fact that Chrystia Freeland did not cause any problems with losing to Mark Carney,
Yes.
she fell back in line. That was going to potentially, if the Liberals lost, that was going to potentially be a big blow up.
Yeah.
But now, in addition to the last two, who was the other guy that ran Conservative?
Andrew Scheer.
Andrew Scheer. This is another young, upcoming Conservative that has failed
Yes.
at dethroning the Liberals. And the question now, with Poilievre losing his seat, was what happens to the Conservative leadership?
And actually, this is also kudos to the Conservative. They managed to keep Pierre Poilievre as a leader, even after he lost his seat. That was a very
that
big
caught
deal.
everyone by surprise, especially.
There has never been a leader, especially a Conservative leader, who has lost his seat, I think, and since Campbell. I think Campbell was the only...
When was that?
let me get you that information.
It's gonna be a long time.
Yes, it's been like quite a long time. So since Kim Campbell in 1993, that was the only time when an opposition leader lost their MPC. But Conservatives, actually, like Pierre Poilievre managed to convince Conservatives to keep him as a leader. One thing is because of what you talked about first. The Conservatives, even though they lost, they increased
They
the
performed
number
so well.
of MPs than they have ever done.
And I think this is one of the highest population
Popular
number
vote
they've
they
won,
have ever
popular
had,
vote,
yes.
vote. But then in the mix of all of that, this guy who's been a 20-year stalwart of Carlton loses.
Yes.
Now, let me take the story from there. So April 28th, we all stay up to wait for Fanjoy
Yeah.
to defeat Poilievre.
Yes.
And all of us could not believe it, but I can tell you Twitter was on fire that day.
Yeah.
Oh man, the Pierre Poilievre jokes were just
Honestly,
flying.
I couldn't believe it. Like every time I kept checking
Yeah.
the percentage, I just couldn't believe Pierre Poilievre was losing.
Now, there were some tactics as well that was run in Carlton that were not run everywhere else. There were like a million candidates between him
Yes.
but it's still, Fanjoy was a political nobody.
Yeah.
It was still supposed to be a cakewalk. So April 28th, he loses.
Yeah.
And then for what felt like forever, we were asking what's going to happen with him, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Then they come out in May and they say he's not going anywhere. And then we're like, okay, so who's going to be the sacrificial lamb?
Yeah.
Because we're like, there's no way he's going to run in purple territory. He's going to have to run in like deep blue conservative areas.
Yeah. So a conservative MP called Damian Kurek decides to be the sacrificial sheep, and he gives up his seat in Alberta. Obviously, deep blue in Alberta in Battle River, Crawford. So I think in the coming months, Pierre Poilievre will be running for that seat to win it and replace this guy Damien, and also join the parliament to officially be the leader of opposition. Currently, Andrew Scheer is the leader of opposition in parliament, but the leader of the Conservative Party is still Pierre Poilievre. Now, on that point, is he a DEI candidate?
Yeah, no. This is straight up like for him to be baby Trump in Canada and have to have somebody step down so he can get a job.
Yeah.
And then go to parliament after losing to resume his job. Like everything they dismiss about DEI was done for this guy. This guy.
Yeah.
And then guess what? Yours truly happened to go for coffee at an Aroma downtown Toronto. And guess who I ran into in the middle of his loss? This is before Kurek has decided to step down.
Yeah.
It's just Pierre Poilievre and his babe. By the way, his detail was like two guys.
Okay, so you actually met him.
Oh yeah, I met him.
How was that?
I met him. I shook hands with him. He had his one of his main guys there. We exchanged numbers. As a conversationalist, very great conversationalist.
Yeah.
Like I got the chance.
So you just approached him and you started talking to him?
I just approached him. So we were ordering coffee. They ordered before me, and
he has the detail?
yeah, at that point he has a detail. He has a couple people in the car outside, a couple people in the coffee shop, and his main guy, I'm assuming chief of staff. Then his wife, his babe. By the way, him and his babe are a very good looking couple.
I've heard the babe is good looking.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I meant.
So what did you talk about?
I was like, so I turned around and I'm like, I did one of those triple takes. I ordered my coffee. I already scoped one time. Then I finally got my coffee. I scope again. And then after I finished making my coffee, I'm like, are you Pierre Poilievre? He's like, yes. I was like, I'm John Paul. I'm a financial educator downtown. I talk to mostly black youth. And then I was very interested. He's like, so like, what are the subjects that you cover? I tell him financial literacy and whatnot. And he wanted to talk about Bitcoin. Yeah, but I had no interest in talking about Bitcoin.
No.
So I had interest in talking about like the credit facilities getting to black businesses and some of the liberal programs that were established being less efficient. I thought he would be very interested in that. And he by and large was. I had a really good conversation, like 10 minutes. I had to be the one leaving, like, I gotta go work.
Okay, so was he interested in the topics you're talking about? Because I know that you are very passionate about financial literacy, especially in black and immigrant communities. You're also passionate about making sure that we increase our level of house ownership, which as black people we are the lowest.
Yeah.
You're also like very passionate about businesses now being able to get loan, get credit, so that especially black owned businesses to grow. Like go from just being a small business to something bigger. From your conversation, was he interested in any of those?
So Pierre Poilievre is an artist when it comes to like conversation. Like just like any other seasoned politician, when I brought up an issue, he would talk about the larger issue. So we'll talk about home ownership. He would talk about like increasing opportunity for Canadians over greed. And I talked about like some of the programs that the Liberals had on that were not efficient. He would talk about like getting government out of the way so people can create value. Pierre Poilievre is a savvy guy. So I don't get the sense that I got anything out of him that was not
so he gave you
good
pure
political
answers.
Yeah, but I also think being in a campaign for that long, he's probably still in campaign mode.
Yeah.
And obviously August 18 he's going to be tested. So do you want to know what this guy Kurek got in return for giving up his seat?
Yeah.
So this guy Kurek from Battle River, Crawford gave up his seat on June 17 to allow Poilievre to run. Poilievre is going to run on August 18, and this guy got a cushy job at an organization. What is the organization called?
So he got a job.
Yeah, he got a job at an organization called Upstream.
I thought he wanted to be a farmer.
I mean, whatever he said, they paid.
Okay.
I have a feeling this was a blank check situation. So Upstream is a political strategist group in that is run in Toronto, and I don't know what he's going to be doing, but obviously they say he's a principal, which means it's like a partner. So he's probably going to be paid very well.
So he's being paid very
It's
well.
no corruption. It's just getting out of the way.
Welcome to politics.
Welcome to politics. So all of that happens, and I think Mark Carney was like, I'm not going to play politics with this. Whenever it's appropriate, he can run and get back to the people's business.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Mark Carney. How have you assessed his performance since there was that first big meeting in Washington? You can talk about that or pick up any spot you want.
So a couple of things. So obviously Mark Carney is our new prime minister now. He's been able to do a couple of things, becoming the prime minister. But I think the main thing that Canadians have been asking and the Canadians are still waiting for is, can he make a deal with Donald Trump on trade? I think, as you know, that there is tariffs on Canada right now, and we're being tariffed on everything, including manufacturing, so cars industry being tariffed, including metals, so aluminium and stuff being tariffed. And as you know, recently Trump sent a new letter saying he's going to tariff 35% on everything that comes from Canada. Pretty much every product that comes from Canada will be tariffed at 35%. And he mentioned that if we retaliate,
that's his
that
favorite thing.
Retaliation percentage will be added on top of the 35%. So that, and the reason I'm talking about that, because that was a very big part of what Canadians were expecting from Mark Carney, and they're still expecting from Mark Carney to make a deal with Trump, to make a deal with the US. Obviously, the US is our biggest trading partner, and I think we are actually, they're also biggest trading partner in the world. So these tariffs, they impact our economy very directly.
Yeah, and I think you can see, at least from his first meeting, with Trump, there was a little bit of respect there that I don't think Trump would have given to Trudeau. He was already in name calling. I think he also did not like Trudeau because, like, besides the liberal piece, I think he really had a deep disdain for Trudeau.
Yeah.
Like a huge lack of respect.
Yeah.
So I think
I don't think he ever liked Trudeau.
No. After the first meeting, we got a glimpse that he's going to deal with Carney with some sort of degree of, respect.
Yes.
There was that moment in the White House when he was talking about the 51st state, and Carney told him about some places that you cannot buy, including the White House.
Yeah.
And Trump was like, never say never. And Carney was like, never.
And I think it was actually the first time, and I think you noticed they produced, the White House produced a video of Mark Carney and Trump, and it was, I think, the first time he never claimed to do the first state. It was with Mark Carney. So you could see there was respect, which is why these new tariffs of 35% is very surprising to me, because the understanding is that these guys can deal, they can talk, they can discuss business, they have some respect. Trump respects Carney, and he's willing to do business here. And the fact that we suddenly got this letter telling us that the 35% tariff coming to us on August 1st, by the way, it's in about 2 weeks. That's a big problem. Like, the impact on the economy is going to be huge.
Yeah, and Hamilton has already launched a complaint that, man, even the prospect of the tariffs has already affected business investments down there. But how would you assess his performance? Because as we wrap, let's say, so far we've seen some fireworks, like the premier of Alberta after the election came out to put her name in the ring to say the secession thing, only for First Nations people to let her know that this is treaty land. She had to come back and clean it up, which is like, okay, good, no more jumping out of the window.
Yeah.
I have not heard Quebec on their stance on the pipelines, but I remember the pipelines were a big thing that we're talking about, and now we are hearing that China is actually interested in buying some of the oil from the Trans Mountain pipeline, and that would form a new business partnership between two people who don't really get along. Like, people think US and China don't get along. Canada and China really have some tension.
Huge tension. Yeah.
We extradited that Huawei citizen executive to the US. We've accused them of espionage inside Canada, running black ops inside Canada, human rights degradation, like all of these things. To hear that they are on the table talking about selling oil, I had to sit back down because I thought I was in a different dimension.
There is a saying that they are not forever political enemies in politics. They are not forever enemies in politics. I think that's the saying. And it looks like Canada is very serious about looking at somewhere else. I think we have really started looking somewhere else, especially because it looks like Trump, he looks like he's not a serious person to negotiate. Like, on one point we are having very good negotiation. The next day he's hitting it with some crazy tariff. And this like really makes it hard for businesses, makes it hard for Canada to predict what the future, you know. And
For
in business,
anyone,
prediction
listen,
is very important.
Even Melania doesn't know how to predict the
Exactly.
next day.
Yes.
And it seems to me, so there's some other things going on in Canada as well, like with Poilievre almost getting back to his election. He's talking about, immigration has to be stopped completely. We are now focusing shrinkage in population for the first time in like 4 or 5 years, because all the population influx that we were doing, no one wants to politically touch it.
Yeah.
We know immigration has to happen. Listen, of anything we know is Canadians are not going to have the children. They have told you in no uncertain terms.
Oh, they have made it very clear.
Very clear. That whole 2.1 child per like grown woman, childbearing age, that's not going to happen. You're lucky if somebody has one. And if there's a family that has 3, there's another 3 families that have none. But the immigration thing is still radioactive that even the Liberals are not touching.
Yeah, and I think you remember that I think before Trudeau left, they had already started putting some type of stop or some type of pause on the population growth by reducing immigration.
Yes, and they targeted schools.
Yes.
You can see some of this in universities are starting to actually flirt with bankruptcy.
Yes,
Because-
I think there was a report that colleges have lost more than 1,000 jobs because we have very directly reduced the number of students coming to Canada, especially going to colleges.
So for those who do not know, Canada has a 2-tier system of charging tuition. If you're international or you are local, if you're local, you pay, let's say, 6,000, 7,000. If you're international, there's no limit to how much you can pay per year.
Yeah.
Per semester, they will charge you 15, 16, 17, 20, 40, it doesn't matter. They have the liberty to charge, and these universities started getting hooked on that money. So they would have international operations. People from University of Toronto stationed in Mumbai, literally scouring to find who they can bring here.
Yes.
And all of that now has gone all the way down. So you've seen a lot of colleges close, especially
Yes.
these mom and pop shop colleges. Like the whole thing was a mess. So in conclusion, what would you say has been the general take from the post-election period?
So a couple of things. One is that the negotiations with the US are ongoing, and so far there is no positive. It looks like there is a negative. So we are still waiting. We have about 2 weeks. I think either we're going to get hit by this 35% tariff, or Mark Carney is going to make a miracle. Secondly, we have noticed a big partnership between the federal government and the provincial government. We have actually seen them working a lot together, including conservative premiers like Doug Ford, who has been very much working with the Liberals, especially on dealing with the US. So that has been a very positive, and Mark Carney still has very high voter confidence.
Yeah.
I think he's still above like 55%, which is good for him because like Pierre Poilievre is very low. Another big one that Mark Carney did is to remove the barriers in provinces doing business with each other. That was one thing that he promised, and he promised he was going to do that before July, right? And they did accomplish that. I think almost all provinces have signed agreements with other provinces to try and remove all sorts of trade barriers so that we can actually increase trading among ourselves without relying on the US. And the other big one that just got passed, I think, recently was the bill to have this, what they're calling national economic policy that will allow national economic trade that will allow for major projects to bypass a lot of the regulation. So for example, if you want to build a pipeline right now, that will be considered like a national economic project, and it would bypass a lot of the regulation, for example, around like provincial approval on meeting some green objective or getting approval from First Nation. These specific projects will be bypassing a lot of these regulations. So that was a big one. I'm not sure how they plan to implement it, if they're not going to get sued and stuff, but it was good to see that he's willing to say there are some projects, they're big, I am willing to fast track them. So those are the things that I think are happening, where he's doing well, positively, and also doing bad, especially when it comes to trade negotiations.
Yeah, for me, I think he's doing all right. I think the tariffs have sort of made him like a statesman. You know, like Canadians have not been stuck in their usual politics of nothing here, nothing there.
Yeah.
They really are focused on this U.S. thing. In Ontario, we still don't have U.S. all the U.S.-based liquor in the Liquor Control Board, which is a store. The board is imaginary, but the control is real. We still don't have those. And his military spending has been out of this world.
That's
so
also another big one.
so there are a few things that you're seeing that these are conservative traits, and no one has time to separate conservative traits and liberal traits because the economy is so high on our minds. How are we going to get along with the U.S.? So he's still a statesman, high approval ratings because we are focused on this U.S. issue. Anyway, that's all for this episode. Post-election, we are happy to be back. I'm JP.
And I'm Remy.
First World Problem.
Thank you for joining us. Put your comments and let us know what you'd be interested in, and we'll bring it to you. Thank you.